Welcome to the Zesty Ginger Podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex. We are here for transformation. Yours, ours, and the collective. Personal and professional for practitioners. But not just any transformation. Compassionate transformation. Because between the two of us, we have seemed to have done things the painful way. Let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We aren't afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul. Combining 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to the best life possible in a compassionate way. Compassion, yes, yet plan to roll up your sleeves. Transformation requires your participation. And a quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into the episode.
Hey, series of possibility. Here we go. Did you notice that I missed something last episode? I wanted to see who would notice. You all did notice. I missed my dad joke or my page joke. I can't even believe it. Ugh, well, this one will definitely make up for it. So, my friend is losing her mind over a missing piece to a 5,000 piece puzzle. You all know how much I love puzzles. I don't know if you do, but I love them and I have them out all the time. But if she thinks that's bad, I'm missing 4,999. So in the process of sharing the dad jokes, I forgot that there's an Instagram account, Dad Says Jokes, which sometimes are really inappropriate and funny. So there you go. Great place to find more dad jokes if you want more. I hope you're filling out your workbook. Awesome. I'm sure you are. So we'll get right into it. You know that saying they say that time heals all wounds. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like a lot, because I think what happens is we expect time to heal all wounds. And I'm not saying that time doesn't change the perspective, and often it is easier to look back on something when there's been some time and some space. Not arguing that that doesn't help the process. But what I actually would not agree is that time alone heals wounds. Because I've seen enough from the people I work with when we're doing our process, we'll actually often go back to things that had happened when they were 2, they were 3 in the womb, or in their 20s, right? And there is still emotion, there is still a decision that was made in that moment that they are going back to repeatedly. And there's been lots and lots of time. And I personally had this experience when we had a very eventful day, the day my oldest daughter was born. And it was a very, very stressful day. And I've told this story in some places, so maybe you've heard it. But we were essentially removed from the home we were staying in on the day that I went into labor and went to the hospital. So there were a lot of feelings I had around this house where I'd lived and this person that had kicked us out. And for a long time, the rest of the time that I lived in Hawaii, this was in Hawaii, I was not able to walk or be in that neighborhood without going into full fight or flight in my body. I would have a physical reaction. And of course, we moved from the island, right? This was not a place that I stayed permanently, so I didn't have to go by this area. So that's often what happens, is that maybe you remove yourself from the environment or the triggers, and so you're totally fine until you're in a place that is similar, or you're going back to that place and you realize that it's still all there. And that happened to me. It was still all there because at that time, I didn't know or have the tools to process this kind of event. Again, I was like, well, this was a long time ago, so I'm over it. I'm safe, we're all alive. We found a home. Kids are healthy, right? Nothing horrible happened and everything is good. So it's easy from that perspective to say I shouldn't have any emotion about this anymore. And you may, right? And sometimes these may be even events that you're saying there shouldn't be, it's too small. My conscious mind says this is not a big deal. I want you to know that you still may. And that's okay. In my model of the world, that it's not the time that heals it. It is sharing the story, being witnessed to the story, embodying the story, emotional processing, and subconscious reprogramming, that we can actually shift anything that are tied to these old events. And it's important to do that. It is important in my mind, because we hold on to energy and beliefs and things stored around events, no matter how long they were ago, if we have not officially processed and moved them. Because often, at some point, if we shut ourselves down, if we got into emotion, if you think about with a child, if they start to cry and then we shut them down and if they do not fully process whatever emotion that was in the moment, it is now stored and trapped. And trapped emotion leads to dis-ease in the body. Okay, so we get to start to feel, right? Just like yesterday's episode about the power of vulnerability and showing that in emotion, we get to feel, because then I went and actively did some processes to clear the trauma around that event and around the people involved and the different things that I saw, right? Because images can trigger different things, or being in a certain place, or the sound of somebody's voice, whatever it is. When I worked through that process and worked through that event and fully just released it, then we went on a vacation and I wanted to test it. I wanted to go back to the neighborhood and back to the house, and I was able to stand right outside and have zero response. And what I watched for was to see if there was any response in my body, right? Like heart palpitations or heart racing, right? Something that I'm not controlling. And I watched for it, and there was just nothing. I had totally shifted all emotion and all stories with that. And it wasn't the time, though. It wasn't the time. It was the processing. So I urge you to be aware of the things that you have decided, because so much time has gone by, that they no longer matter or they shouldn't bother you, and yet they're showing up in different ways. So if we want to have all the possibility in life, then it's time to shift these emotions. It's time to allow yourself to feel. Maybe it's a journaling process. If you come to our trainings, then highly suggest that you get together with your buddies, right, with your other practitioners, and you trade. That's what we have our ladies do all the time. They'll trade with each other so that they say, hey, this just came up for me. I didn't even know this was still there. I need some help clearing it. And reprogramming what we actually want. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for being here today. And I would love to end with some words of possibility.
Hi, my name is Sophie Shepherd-Quist, and I've been working with Zesty Ginger for about 7 months, and it has completely changed my life because I have seen so much possibility. There are really 3 main ways that the tools I've learned through Zesty Ginger have helped me. The first one is releasing my stuck emotions, and oh my goodness, did I have a lot of shame, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness. Releasing those emotions and then having the tools to process when things come up again allowed me to feel safe in coming off of my antidepressant, which was huge for me because I actually had been on it for an entire decade. I've been off it for about 5 months, and I'm feeling amazing. And that is in huge part due to the tools I learned through Zesty Ginger. The second way that it's really helped me to see possibility is working through a lot of limiting beliefs I had around certain habits and why they weren't happening, like drinking too much or staying up too late, and wanting them to be different, but then never seeing the change. When I worked with Zesty Ginger on these habits and how to effectively make a new habit stick, it actually allowed me to do these things with ease. And I'm so grateful for that because I just feel so much better. And the third way was addressing patterns like people-pleasing and perfectionism. This was huge for me because these were ingrained since childhood, and it has totally transformed me into the woman and the coach that I want to be. And it has allowed me to know myself better and how I want to lead myself through this life. So I am eternally grateful for these tools of possibility that Zesty Ginger have instilled into me, and I can't even wait to see what else comes from it.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.